But overall, we understand that fostering relationships with customers adds maximum value. So relationships are considered to represent real value, they are longer lasting, and crucially, they are difficult for competitors to copy or destroy. So above all else, a relationship between a buyer and a seller is something that is strong and difficult to break down. And in a competitive environment, when people are trying to steal customers, if you have a relationship with your customer, it means that it's less at risk of being stolen or damaged by a competitor. But relationships need trust. Relationships are built on trust. So trust is all about the willingness to rely on the ability, integrity, and motivation of another, of someone else, as agreed upon both implicitly and explicitly. So it's argued that trust comes before satisfaction and then reduces perceptions of risk. And we can put trust in a sequence at the start of the customer decision process, which will hopefully ultimately end in commitment and profitability. So trust reduces uncertainty. Brands are means of instilling trust in us because they convey information towards us, allowing us to make purchase decisions at a low cognitive cost. So complex decision making is therefore simplified, and the amount of communication needed to result in a purchase is reduced, which is why brands are so important to us in marketing. So trust leads to commitment, and this has a significant impact on overall value creation. Commitment results from a willingness to live with the vulnerability and risk associated with giving trust in the first place. And we can map that on to this model, and we see the different stages of engaging with a business in the yellow boxes, and then the development and extent of amounts of trust and commitment. So we require different levels of trust at different points in our customer journey. Our first transaction requires a great deal of trust, which contributes to the high cost of acquiring a new customer. So in order to hand over our money, we need to muster a degree of trust that what we're handing our money over for will give us value. As a business, once we have satisfied our customers in the first transaction, we can start to build trust and move towards escalating that trust into a committed relationship. This will inform the customer's judgment on overall quality and influence the way they judge individual transactions with us in the future. Assuming they go well, this will further strengthen trust and ongoing commitment, leading towards retention and profitability. So we can see how our previous understanding of customer acquisition costs and customer lifetime value maps onto the process of trust and commitment building. Hopefully, we're able to manage the relationship so that it doesn't decline to a death, but instead continues to be profitable so we can rescue that decline at the end. Thus, trust, commitment, and satisfaction are interrelated, and managing this notion is about reducing perceived power distances between customer and business and managing conflict in order to build trust and commitment. This results in loyalty and retention, gaining continued customer satisfaction, and will increase value for both buyer and seller over time. And what we're trying to do is get our customers onto what is known as the ladder of loyalty and scaling them up to the top of that through the development of a relationship with them. This comes from the ladder of loyalty from Harridge March and Quinton. The prospect is the potential buyer. They're at the lowest rung of the ladder and they've not yet made a purchase. Once they make a purchase, they become a customer or a purchaser. Now, some customers only make one purchase with the business, but our objective is to achieve regular purchasing, therefore turning the customer into a client. Having established repurchase behavior, the next goal is to turn that client into a supporter. That's someone who repurchases, but also has a generally positive attitude towards the company and its processes. The second to last stage is when a supporter becomes an advocate. That is an individual who delivers positive word of mouth and generates referrals within their friends, family, and broader networks. Someone who is willing to advocate for the value of our business. And this might suggest that once a person becomes an advocate, then they will remain an advocate and they will always be our friend. But the reality is that any stage of the ladder of loyalty can be threatened at any time through unresolved problems or unforeseeable or unplanned for circumstances. The final stage is a partner. This is usually only relevant to business marketing, where two companies start to work together, and that partnership represents complete trust and collaboration. But we do see it in B2C, business to consumer relationships as well. BMW in recent years has involved its most loyal customers in the development of its new cars. So the process of relationship development involves recruiting customers and moving them up this ladder of loyalty, escalating their commitment whilst managing situations which may lead to the termination of the relationship. And we go from acquisition to retention to forming a sense of a true and collaborative relationship at the top. In summary, customer satisfaction is time or encounter specific, whereas quality judgment is an ongoing process. Customers make value judgments against the costs and sacrifices that they make in order to purchase something. And developing a relationship involves risk-taking and vulnerability on both sides. We've learned that a relationship is an expression of real value and is long-lasting. We've acknowledged that trust and commitment underpin all relationships. And as we acquire customers and develop relationships, we advance them up the ladder of loyalty whilst trying to mitigate for potential customer exits. That concludes part 4 of the CRM topic. So you've now completed all the content for this topic. Please refer to the course reading for further learning materials.